Okay, so batteries. We all got them. I got a few that need repair. Most people wouldn't attempt this, but I do it every once in a while. I get a couple like these stacked up, and I'll go get them all at once just to burn up some time. So I did fly this weekend, so I got plenty of time. What we'll start off with, first off, because once I get the thing taken apart, you're really not going to be able to see it. So I drew you a picture. Here's the picture. This is basically a 4-cell setup, and what I'm looking for is all 3 of these batteries. 2 of them, let's see. BC, that's a bad cell. DC, that's a dead cell. That means I got no power to one of them. And I got another DC here, which is a dead cell. That little shit stain right there is from when I actually had an ESC catch on fire. And it was like right here, so that's the smoke. So that's really nothing to do with the problem with the battery. So anyway, in case you didn't know, your basic, drop my pen, 4-cell LiPo wiring is a series of single cell batteries. Each one 4.2 is fully charged. As you make your way down, they'll actually link them. I'm pretty sure most of them actually will solder these tabs together. So I'll just put a little link here so you can see it. But as you link them down, you get 8.4, and then 12.6, and then you eventually end up with 16.8 as you link these down. Now, when they're hooked up like this. So what you'll end up having is one lead coming off of this end, one lead coming off of this end. It will be your XT60 negative, and on the other side will be your XT60 positive. Now, your actual balance leads, and this is what you're coming in with these guys, they pop off of these, so you'll have one ground coming off of balance, and then you'll have a wire coming off of each one of them, off of the positive, and these are your balance connectors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probe these batteries and figure out which one of these cells is dead or bad, and then we'll pull it apart. Alright, let's start off the one with the shit stain on it. And first thing you want to do is probe the battery, which I've already done, but I'll show you what I did just for demonstration purposes. It's a 4-cell battery. I'm showing 11.16 volts, which it should be at storage charge a lot. It should be around 14 some odd volts. So we know that is our problem. Now what I want to do is, which is a pain in the butt getting these contacts, but it'll be easier if I had a sharper set of who's my what's it's here probes. But all right, so the first cell we got 3.7, second cell we got 7.42. Now if I move this one over, I'll get the 3.7 again. The third cell we got, come on, we can do it. And then you got it. There we go. Yeah, that one is actually the same as this one. So this one right here, which is the number 3 cell, is the one that's more than likely bad. So get the meter out of here. So what I'm going to do is I want to try to pull this lead out of the or out of the plug, and that way there I'll actually have a easier time finding it once this thing's all blown apart. And all the wires are exposed. I just try to minimize moving these wires as much as I can when I'm pulling these apart. They really do make these a pain in the balls to pull out. There we go. I think I've got it. There we go. All right, so that's my bad one. All right, let me get my stuff together real quick. All right, ready to de-skin this thing. One thing I do, and I used to use a bag for this. Now I use a little metal tin. So if this thing does go off, I could just throw it in here, run it through the house, and then throw it into my neighbor's backyard and close the door. It is marked with the appropriate toxic waste label, so I keep this right next to me. I used to use a bag when I would do this, but I think fiddling with getting a bag open and getting the thing in there while it's on fire might be a little too much. So I go with the tin. Like I said, if it does go bad, at least I won't have to hold it. I can just flick it into that metal thing. So all right, to de-skin this, I got this here X-Acto knife, like I said earlier. It's good because it's sharp, and when you're trying to cut something precisely, you don't want a dull knife. So I always put a nice fresh blade on the thing. What I'll normally do is you got, this is a little protective covering for the cells that goes around here. You can actually see it wrapping around this side too. I'll generally try to get that up. This one's already cracked, but I'll try to peel that up and then run the blade back down side here and actually skin the thing. The one thing you don't want to do is to take the knife and stick it and then run it this way. This is obviously conductive, so if you introduce this into the cell, you're going to have sparks and bad things will happen. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, just keep the pointy bits and the sharpie bits as far away from the cells as you can. So you got that open, and I'll actually hold on to these, and most of the time I'll cut these out with scissors and then put this back together with tape, and then actually just cellophane this around it so it actually somewhat looks like a decent battery, but we'll worry about that later. All right, so what we need to do is come back here and skin these. I've never had a China Hobby line apart, to be honest with you, so this is going to be a little bit new of an experience for me. And let's see, come on. Oh man, that's thick. You got to be careful too when you're yanking on this stuff. You don't want to pull too hard on the cells because you could actually cause damage that way as well. So we're going to skin this bad boy back. One of the things you'll notice too with these batteries that are the same C rating and the same milliamp hours, but they are lighter, a lot of those batteries will leave some of this protection out of the construction of the battery, and that's how they save on weight. Just an FYI. Me personally, I rather just protect the battery and not risk setting my shit on fire. So again, just kind of prizing my way through here, and that's the outer skin. Again, hold on to that for when you put it back together, and that's basically a naked 4-cell pack right there. Looks like it's had a couple of smashes on her. So what we need to do is actually right here too. Let me point with the other pointy bit. You see this tape right here? This is the same tape as this stuff. This is that Kapton tape. And yeah, so now the one wire, this guy right here, that was the dead cell, is this cell right here. So, or at least it's tapped into that cell right there. So what you want to do, or what I want to do, is not go poking at it with a pointy metal thing, and see if I can start peeling up this Kapton tape without getting freaky deaky. I said, you gotta, when you're doing this, you gotta kind of think of it as a bomb, because it kind of is a bomb. Just not one that'll blow your face up, but it'll set your house on fire. So that right there, that pulled out of there, which actually this is nice. I've had a few batteries apart in my day, but I've never seen one that actually had separation between the cells like that. So that's actually a pretty cool little thing that they do. So now let's see. Ooh, they're stuck together really good. Now, as you see right here too, these are the bus bars that come out of the cells, and you see they just kind of folded them over like this, and then soldered them, and then they tapped onto it like I was showing you earlier in that picture I drew. So, all right, let me get my meter. All right, we got the meter. And no, that'll actually be positive. Flip it around. So we got good voltage there. Now I really think my problem is, let's pull this back. And let's pull this back. Let me get the pokey non-conductive thingy in there. Alright, pull that back, and that should pull out, or not, maybe not. Let me get another tweezers. Ooh, shaking hands with danger here, baby. Problem is, if I touch these hemostats to this and this, I'm going to get sparky sparks. I'm trying to only touch one at a time. Man, they built the shit out of these freaking batteries, I'll tell you that much. So is that cell dead? Like dead? I mean, we know it's dead, but is it dead? Oh, it is dead. Look at that. Alright. So this one right here, get the polarity right. Now it's this cell actually right here that I'm checking. And that would be the ground. And then that would be the actual other side of the cell. So, yeah, she's dead. Yeah, so no power on that cell. That's weird. Usually cells like that, I mean, from my experience, they don't go dead like that. They'll actually, it'll be a break in one of these bridges. So, that's something new for me. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, off camera, take apart these last two, and then there's more padding in there. They really built these things nice. I'll take apart these last two, see what the problem is with it, and then we'll see if we can maybe get one or two good ones out of, well, I'll definitely be able to get one or two good ones out of these remaining packs. The one thing, I might end up with one 4-cell and one 2-cell, or sorry, 2 4-cell packs out of this and one 2-cell. I don't know. We'll see. Let's start digging. Okay, I got them all skinned. This is the one I started off with. I marked the cell that was bad on this one. This one was the other one. Similar cell right in the middle there, and I got lucky. The third one, it was actually an outside cell. The outside cells are a lot easier to replace than the inside cells because you don't have to pull them apart. You just gotta pop the one side off, pop the other side off. So what I need to do is desolder everything in here, and what I'm going to do is take a cell from this one, that's the bad one, take this good one and pop it onto here, hopefully without catching my face on fire. So let's start with that. What I normally do, let me get some flux. I will, this is lead-free solder, kind of sucks to solder. So what I normally do is I'll touch this solder with some leaded stuff. I normally solder most of my stuff at 400 degrees Celsius. For these, because it's lead-free, I will actually be using 450 degrees just to get that heat into it real quick. Like I said, first I will put a little fresh solder on it just to get it nice and wet. And then once I get her wet, just kind of put this on there. Try to get the wires off first is usually the best way to do it. And so you don't want to pull. Come on, baby. And will the balance lead come off? Let's try that. Everywhere. Come on, mama. There you go. Alright, we got that balance lead off. And we'll get this balance lead off. Come on, get in there. Come on, let me go a little higher. It doesn't seem like it wants to be cooperating with me. I'm going to knock it up to about 470. There we go. Nice and hot. Alright, let me put the iron down, and I will take some tape. Where is my tape that I want to use? There we go. And this is just a quickie temporary tape job, just so nothing gets touchy feely while I'm trying to do what I'm doing. Just kind of separate them within the tape and then wrap them around, so like I said, there's no chance of them touching each other. Alright, let's get back to this. That should have came off. Let's try that again. Alright, now what we need to do is we need to remove this cell without exploding your face. I really hate pulling on these things. That insulator we don't need. And alright, so what I'm going to do is this little piece right here, I'm going to put a bunch of heat on it and see if I can get that to cut loose. I'm not sure if they fold these over or what have you. I hope not. You know what, let's do it this way. Just for experiment reasons. Let's take this right here and lop it off just to get this cell out of here. And that's the bad cell. Ooh. Alright. So, just curious how they attach. Oh, they do solder them. I thought maybe they spot welded them, but it doesn't look like it. Looks like it's just soldered. But alright, that's good enough. for what I needed to do. Lost my wire. Tuck that back in there. Okay. So let's put that bomb over there. This is definitely a bomb. Alright, so let's come over here and we're going to do the same exact thing, but on the opposite side. That's another one. Now, this cell's eventually going to have to come off, but I'm not going to ask you to suffer through that. Now we need to identify positive and negative. Positive is obviously going to go to this side. So, the meter right here. A little squishy, that one. And according to the meter, just double check, that's negative, so yep. And that is positive. So let's mark that. Positive and negative. Alright. Now we're getting down to it. Now all I really need to do is slap that guy there, hook up my positive lead, and then reconnect these guys. Sounds simple enough, right? Cut to me setting my face on fire. Alright, so we're starting new here, so let's get some of the good juice on here. That, that, a lot of that. I think this one's just about it. Yeah, I knew I had a better one. So we will tin these up with some good lead solder, because lead is good for you, if you didn't know that. And let me tin the bottom half of this thing too. And then let's tin this here. Come on, get on there, baby. These tabs really don't like taking solder, period. That's another thing to keep in mind when you're doing these. It's just an amazing amount of heat you got to use on these friggin' things. So I will take that, and we will solder that to that, and I'm burning the fucking holy hell out of my fingers. Now, if I did this right, I should have a 4-cell pack again. And there you go, 15.49 volts. Sweet. All right. I will get some things together, and we'll come back and we will put this back together. Okie dokie. So, I got my spacers in here that protect the individual cells from touching each other. They're back where they belong. And I'm just going to repeat in the opposite direction I did when I was taking it apart. So, this is where the Kapton tape really, it's where you really need it. Because if you use just like a plain old cellophane tape on here, when it gets hot, it could melt, and then you could lose any function of the tape. So I think I'm gonna give a good wrap around the top there. Right in front of me. That's where it was. So let's hit that. Get some good stiction. And we'll wrap that down there like that. Alright. And the scissors. And knock everything off your bench. Oh, wow, those scissors suck. There you go. Alright. There you go. So right now all the electrical stuff is nicely secured. So I will take one of these guys that I peeled off of one of these batteries, and then we will just wrap this back up. And it goes around there. And then, come on. A little off kilter there. And that goes around there. And that goes around the top. And then there. And that's all back together. So we will, just as a extra precaution, I got this reinforced packing tape. It means that, I mean, once you take tape off, you put it back on, it's kind of loses its stickiness. So I'm going to give it a good one extra wrap with this stuff, just to make sure everything stays together. Clip. There we go. That is a repaired battery. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these labels back on and do a little cellophane tape on it just to give it a little extra waterproofing. But while I'm at it, I'll make a second one. We'll check back in when I'm done. Well, alright. We are all done. As you can see by the mess on the bench. Oh, grab this. You start off with a clean bench and you end up with this mess. Yeah, so here's the 2 packs that I have repaired, I guess is what you would call that. There you go. And there you go. There you go. What I'll end up doing with these is, first time I charge them, I'll check the, I'll charge them separately from everybody else, so that way there I got a nice idea whether or not it's going to catch on fire, but it should be okay. And I'm pretty sure I got them back to the way I wanted them to. So I started off with 3 dead packs and ended up with 2 fairly decent warm-up packs. These are the 3 cells that were bad, so I'll take these and put those in my neighbor's trash. This is the one good cell that's left over, so I might just hold on to this and put something on top of that so they doesn't short out, and throw that in a bag maybe for future reuse. But yeah, so that worked out pretty good. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but like I said, it's more fun for the challenge than it is for actually its usefulness. And I mean, they're about 20 bucks a piece, so $40. Well, not quite 40 because they're used, but I mean, I'd pay 10 bucks each for these, so I guess that's kind of worth my time. And I really didn't have anything better to do tonight, so there you go. A note of caution: if you're not used to doing stuff like this, it's probably not a good idea to attempt this, especially if you're not any good at soldering. It could get bad pretty quick, and then, like I said too, if you're not real careful stacking these back up, you could end up crashing it and catching your battery on fire and your quad. So, but use your own discretion. I'm sure you're smart enough to figure out whether or not you can handle something like this. So anyway, thanks for watching.